All right. So today's webinar, we're going to be talking about returns and order time. We're going to cover the different types of returns, and we're going to kind of go over how to create them and the effects that they have in QuickBooks. So there's two types of returns in QuickBooks in order time. There's customer returns and there's vendor returns. We're going to talk about our customer returns first. In creating customer returns, you have a couple different ways of doing it. You can create a customer return straight from the original ship doc that the order was placed on, or you can go to the create new section in order time and create a new customer return. So I'm going to go ahead and open up order time now and show you what this looks like. So I'm going to use my slide out menu. I'm going to go to create new and customer return. I'm going to choose my customer that I want to do a return for. And I'm going to enter the items that the customer wants to return. So this customer, I don't know if anybody recognizes the customer, but he's got some interesting purchases. He's going to return a deck of playing cards. And after I add the items, all I really have to do is go up to the status and change it from processing to returned. The customer return itself acts as the reverse of a ship doc. So this is going to bring the item back into inventory, and it's going to create a return into QuickBooks. So this customer now has a customer credit at this point. I can either leave it as a credit, or I can give them a refund at this point. So if I wanted to give a refund, I can click the add button and give cash or credit card. So if I want to do cash, I would just leave the amount and hit save. Now, I also have the ability to go into a ship doc itself. So I'm going to go into this customer. I have a ship doc open. You can see purchased 25 decks of playing cards and 15 glass eyes. That one's not open. Let's go to this one here. There we go. So this one's closed. I can go ahead and create a return straight from the ship doc itself using the return button. Now, if I look at the items list, this customer, it brings in all the items that were originally on the ship doc, but this customer doesn't want to return all of those items. He only wants to return one of his glass eyes. So I'm going to just get rid of the playing cards and change the quantity to one glass eye. Now, instead of giving a refund, I'm going to give a customer credit, and I'm going to leave it as is and just change this from processing to returned. What this does is once this syncs over to QuickBooks, it's going to show as a credit memo for this customer. Now, if this customer goes to make another purchase, so I'm going to create a new sales order for that customer. This customer is going to purchase the glass eye again. And let's do a deck of playing cards. So at this point, I can take a payment and I can apply the credit that I have on file for that customer. I can go to apply credits, and it's showing the credits I have available from previous customer returns. I can choose to apply one or both if I needed to. So I'm actually going to choose this one so that it leaves a remaining balance. You see the customer still owes me $6. Now, if I wanted to take the rest of that out of his credits, I can apply it, and it's going to show that he still has a $24 balance on his credits available. All right. So that's customer returns. It's pretty straightforward. If you do the credit memo, you also have the ability to apply the credit directly in QuickBooks. So let's pull that back up. So we went over issuing a refund, issuing the credit. Now, in QuickBooks, if you had a credit memo, you can pull up the outstanding transactions. You see your credit memo, and you can apply it there. The other type of return in order time is the vendor returns. And again, you can do it two different ways. You can do a return from the Create New button or from a closed receiver. So let's take a look at how we would go about doing that. All right. So in order time, we would go to Create New and scroll down and find Vendor Return. We choose our vendor. And we enter the item that we want to return. I'm going to return a bunch of playing cards. Save. Now, the vendor return, after you add your items and change the status, again, this is going to go into QuickBooks and show that you have a credit with that vendor. So the next time you create a purchase order and a receiver and the bill goes to QuickBooks, you would see the credit sitting there waiting to be applied. So we go to return. And now that credit is in QuickBooks. The other way of doing this would be straight from a receiver. If I scroll down to my full list and find my receivers, I can see I've got a receiver from that vendor. Received, change it to closed. All I have to do is click return. It's going to add all of these items onto that vendor return. And I can pick and choose which ones I want to return. So if some of the playing cards came in damaged, I want to return those, but all the glass eyes were fine. I'll remove the glass eyes from the vendor return. And I'll just change the quantity of the playing cards. And then again, all you have to do is change the status from processing to returned. Now, the effects that these transactions have in QuickBooks is, again, the returns are going to create credit memos for either your customer or for yourself, depending on whether you're doing a customer return or a vendor return. I know that was pretty quick and short. Do we have questions?
Yeah, right now we'll open up for some questions. In the top right-hand corner, you can click on the chat icon and you can enter your questions in chat.
Or Ian, is there anything you want to jump in and add? Something I may have missed?
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple of things that, you know, is particular with applying credits. Like, for example, go to the one that you applied the credit to.
Okay.
Right. And we just want to kind of be aware of how we do this. So go to not that one, the ship doc. Okay, and go to payments.
Sorry, this one here. Payments.
You didn't apply credit to that one. The one that you applied credit to.
Gotcha.
Maybe just apply credit that.
Okay.
So see if there's apply credit there. Okay, do that.
All right.
Okay, now do you see that payment? We created actually a payment. So in QuickBooks, it'll go in as a payment. So click on number 11. Okay. Now you see what we're doing here. What we're doing is we're making a payment where we're offsetting the ship doc to the customer return. So in QuickBooks, that's going to be a payment. So that's where you're going to look for that, and you'll see both, or zero, it doesn't really matter, and you'll see kind of the offset that Jason showed you in a previous thing. Now, one of the other things is that QuickBooks sometimes, when you create a credit memo or customer return and then a credit memo, QuickBooks will automatically apply that credit to kind of random invoices. So there's an article on our help that basically, will allow you to disable that. So you'll let order time decide which invoices or ship docs to apply a credit, as opposed to QuickBooks automatically applying that credit. Do you have that help handy?
Yeah, I'm getting it right now. I'm pulling it up.
Okay.
In the meantime, there was also a question. Once you've applied the credit, does it close out the customer return?
Once you close the credit, what do you mean? Like once you change the status to received, what happens?
Once you've applied the credit to the ship doc, yeah.
Yeah.
Would it close out the customer return?
Yes. Yes. It would show as totally refunded.
So, sorry, just to clarify in really simple terms. So what exactly is the difference in a document when you make the customer return and you leave it as returned versus it being closed?
The only difference that between closed and returned, they both do the same thing. It just depends on your preference in QuickBooks as to at what point do you want to synchronize. So if you go, Jason, to the accounting integration part of this, just configure. So if you go to invoices, and you see there it says post customer return when status is returned, or you can do closed. That's the only difference, really. Returned and closed, basically, from an inventory point of view, posting and our ledger's point of view, does the same thing. The only thing the difference is there is that at what point should it be synchronized with QuickBooks.
In the chat, I'm also adding the link to the help article. Basically, what this is doing is sometimes QuickBooks will automatically apply credits to pay off, and you don't really want to do that at all with this system. So you're going to want to turn that off. And this is instructions on where to turn off automatically applying credits in QuickBooks Online and in QuickBooks Desktop. I'm also, when I send out the email after this, I'll include that link as well.
All right, that's good.
We got another question from Kurt. What about RMA, like return authorization to customers to make warranty repairs?
Return RMA, that flow is with you do a sales order with a repair item, a non-inventory item. You do a sales order, basically, with a non-inventory item called service or something like that. That's what you're going to do an order for. So you would do a repair order. But if you're going to return something, a real return, then you would just do a regular return, just like Jason showed. Yeah.
Kurt, does that answer your question?
Somehow, yes. You know, mostly these returns or the RMAs, they apply to an existing purchase order. So I have to relate this to a purchase order. I send 100 out and they send me back 10 for a repair or an upgrade or something. It's still under this purchase order. I send them my RMA number. When it comes in, it will be managed under this RMA, and then I send it back to close this RMA. So maybe we can do this, as Ian said, completely separate from a purchase order.
Yeah, you would do a sales order.
See, the thing is, you have to send out RMA numbers to customers. So the whole tracking about repair or whatever, even if they send back material because they ordered this too much, they like to have an authorization that they are allowed to return this. You know, sometimes if they return, you have
you create a customer return and just leave it in the pending status. That's the number. You can then print the customer return as a separate template called RMA. But that'll generate a number for you, right? And that will generate the number. And once you have the number, you can just print it off and then wait until it comes back. It just sits there in a kind of pending return status, right, on the inventory list, and then gets returned. Yeah. And then you change the status to received.
Ja, but das RMA muss ja Part von der Nummer sein.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. See, okay, if I have to have a sales order, you know, the bad thing is we cannot have any prefix in your numbering system here. It is a number, you know, if you decide it's 1,000 for sales order. So I like to differentiate to make a list how many RMAs are we currently processing or do we have to process. So if I could do a prefix, which is called RMA, and then we have a number, that would be fine. So but now here it would be managed as a normal sales order. You know, sales order is always good, and RMA is mostly not good. So cost you money or time. So yeah, we have to figure out how. So you do not have an instrument.
You can. I mean, we don't have a separate sequence right now for RMAs, but it is a customer return. Customer return comes back, and you want to ship them another product. You do a sales order, and you can do a custom field, or for is whatever repair return, so you can identify which sales orders are like that, and you can even create some random number, an RMA number that you put in, and that's
Yeah, and you can make a custom report also. If you use a custom field like that, you can make a report that shows you the ones that are currently going. So Sounds like we could help you from the support end on that
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
If you send in a ticket to support at order time, and we'll start working on that.
Yeah, how do I prevent that something goes back to a QuickBook? You know, if I have a return, so mostly it gives a credit note in QuickBooks, so it should not synchronize.
Why not? Because you're gonna do another sales order to ship it out. So you're gonna have a back-to-back ship doc and a customer return, which will net to 0. So of course you want it to sync. So if you're doing an RMA, someone returns something, right? You return it back in, you put it back in your inventory. You're going to do a ship doc or a sales order for the replacement. The ship doc invoice and the customer return invoice should offset each other because they're the same price, netting 0, so the customer doesn't owe you anything.
Yeah,
Both of those should be synchronized.
I do not agree, because if they send an RMA back, they want this stuff back, you know, maybe repaired or upgraded or whatever. So
that's a different workflow. That's a different workflow. That's just not a straight return. That I can talk to you through support.
Yes. Okay. Thank you.
We can lead you through that one. That's a different, where you're repairing something. That's different. That's just a straight up sales order with a service item, because you're not receiving anything, you're not shipping anything out of your own inventory. It's just a service.
Yeah.
And what you can do is you can have a field in the sales order that is, repair, what type of sales order. Is it a repair order? Is it a sales, sale or a repair, so you can identify which ones they are.
Okay.
Does anyone else have any questions about the 2 types of returns, or applying a credit, refunding a credit, anything on the accounting side with QuickBooks?
Yes. It's again good. Normally you have, if you return something, there are companies, they charge you a restocking fee.
Mm-hmm.
How would I add this here?
You add a discount called restocking fee. It's a negative. I mean, it kind of works in the reverse, right?
Okay.
So, okay.
So, but Jason, can you show me again where you would, if I return something to a vendor, where how I apply this discount?
Okay. Yeah. All right. So what you want to do, Jason, is you want to create a vendor return and then just add a line item called whatever. I'll show you.
Okay. I use a separate line item. Okay.
Oh, you're doing it on a vendor return. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Just add an item. So they're charging you restocking fee?
Yeah, 25%.
We'll make a case out of that one. I would just adjust the price, the cost right there for now. We don't have like a discount on a vendor return. That's what I don't know if we can do a discount on a vendor return, but I would just adjust the cost.
What, to a negative cost?
No, just
take 35% off that $2.
Gotcha. So you're adding to the cost.
We can make a feature request for that.
Okay.
Okay.
Feature request.
Okay.
Do we have that on a customer return also? Like, can you add a discount on a customer return?
Yeah, on a customer return, you just add the discount, it'll do it.
Mm-hmm.
But on this, it's
on a vendor return, we're gonna have to add that.
Discounts for purchase orders.
Okay, and Jason's going to a customer return right now.
So you would have that discount available.
So you click that.
I would have to have the item, but I'm just kind of rolling in.
And you'd have to create a discount that would be negative, right?
For the vendor, yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if that would exist on the vendor return, that would be great.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, I'll put in that feature request right after this.
Okay. Thank
And
you.
then we got another question. So you can add 25% restock fee for customer return, but what about labor fee and the shipping gets added instead of deducted? So how do we go about that? Okay, this is like a multi-part question.
Say again.
Okay, so you got 25% restock fee on the customer return, but then what about also a labor fee and shipping gets added instead of deducted? How do we go about that?
Can I not add here a line item?
Well, there's functionality. There's discounts and additional fee. So there are two places to put that. So you can take a look at that. But in terms of the shipping that you're adding, it's kind of a backwards discount as well. So you can't put in the negative shipping.
No.
So it's either going to be a discount.
That'd probably be an additional fee, right? Like just another fee for the shipping.
Yeah.
Could be. Definitely could be. Yeah.
Click on the additional fee. Yeah. Okay. And those can just be added. Yeah. So you got restocking fee there that you can also charge right there. And custom charge. So you can make it an additional one that's called labor, and then an additional one that's called shipping on return.
Okay. Yeah, you know, the thing is, it has to arrive as cost in QuickBooks. That's the challenge here. So the restocking fee is a cost. The shipping, most likely I have to pay this, is a cost.
Yeah, when the additional fee is added in, what does that appear like in QuickBooks?
When the additional fees
are applied to the customer return.
We got to take a look at it. I'm not sure. I'm not sure how that works, whether it's a negative or a positive. You want a negative amount. You want a discount. You want it to reduce the total customer return subtotal. Okay, so at one point it's a discount. So you can go click on discount, select the discount amount, doesn't matter, and override the discount. Let's say you don't, shipping and all that is whatever, 25, change it to 50%. No, change it to 50%. Okay, now press save. Okay, so now it's reduced the customer return, still bringing that back into inventory, right, at $6, but the customer is only getting back $3.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
And it gets out of inventory.
It's in inventory. You're returning it into inventory.
Yeah, this is a
no. It goes out of my inventory back to the vendor.
He talks about customer.
Oh, this is a customer return.
That's that customer return.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. Yep. Correct.
Okie dokie. Any other questions on applying credits, refunding credits, anything to do with returns before we end off? And we'll also be sending this recording out for any of the people who were a little bit late, like the beginning part about customer returns, you can see in the recording.
Yeah, just if we'll get you that.
Yeah, I've got a couple feature requests to put in after this, and we'll put in a ticket about how those things appear in QuickBooks and whether we're satisfied with that or not.
Okay.
You'll
right.
definitely receive the recording. and you can also email me at michael@ordertime.com, Roger.
Okay.
All right, looks like we're good. That was a pretty good session.
Thanks very much.
Thank you.
All right, have a good day,
No problem.
everyone.
Take care.
All right, bye-bye.
Thank you.